So sometimes I like to post on Facebook because I want to have a record of things. That's why I often will post different sayings and thoughts and so forth. It's more for me to remember different thoughts and perhaps to help some people. Tonight I have something else I want to share. My daughter Amy went to a old people's home. I don't know what's assisted living, I guess is what you call them. We called them convalescent homes, to just be there for a puzzle night, I guess. It's a beautiful ministry. My mom used to drag us 4 kids to the 4 different convalescent homes in the city of Torrington when I was growing up. So they're still around, not the people that were there, but the homes themselves actually are still there. And there was one place they brought us. Eventually they called it the Temple. I think it's an Airbnb on top of Torrenford Street. It used to be, I think it was called the Drummond Convalescent Home when I was growing up. It was a beautiful home, and there was a lot of older people that were there. And when I was, I don't know what I was, 9, 10, 11, I don't even remember. But there was an old man, whenever we would go into the pardon me, the room where my mother would play the accordion. She was pretty good, you know. She'd play the accordion, play the old hymns. Imagine a bunch of older people with an accordion. My mom played, and I come to the garden alone. Anyways, no, I haven't been drinking. And he walks with me, and he talks with me. One of the worst hymns that was ever written. But there were some good ones. But anyways, the reason I'm making this video is because there was a man there, Mr. Jackson, old Mr. Jackson. And when I would walk into the room, he'd take his hands and he'd go, and I remember as a little kid, really like, wow, that's pretty cool that he could whistle with his hands. And he used to show me. He'd go like this, and he'd cup them together, and I tell you, I worked at that for, I don't know, I worked at it for all summer. I just couldn't figure it out how to do it, and I really wanted to be able to whistle with my hands. So I worked at it, and eventually I got it. I was so excited when I finally was able to whistle with my hands. And I tell you what, that gift that Mr. Jackson gave me has been one of the greatest gifts that I've ever had in my whole life. I have used my hand whistle growing up in Torrington and Burrville. I had a good friend, Mike Deek, lived up the road, and sometimes we would try to find each other because somebody would be out hunting or something. And so we'd go, and we wait for a while, and after a while, then you'd hear an echo. And so Mike would call back. So we would communicate that way. So we could find each other. I don't know how far. You could hear that for a distance. And so when we were kids, we would find each other and never could get lost. Used to use that whistle all the time, and I tried to teach my kids. I think my son can do it. I don't know any of my other kids, but I still use that. I used it for my dog, Jonah. I called him Jonah because he would run the other way when I called him. But Jonah would be out running in the woods and whatever, and so I'd call him, and Jonah would come running. I trained him to the whistle. So that was very cool. So yeah, if anybody wants to learn how to do the hand whistle, you could do a lot of things. You could even do it like this. It's hard to do different notes. You could do a lot of notes with it this way. I've often thought about making a hand whistle choir. I think that would be like awesome, you know, have 100 people with doing harmonies and melodies and all that, because you actually have a pretty good range. I could do mourning doves, and I sometimes get them all excited. And they even now they'll start answering me and start coming around. You could do owl sounds, you could do, you know, various bird sounds like that, but the mourning dove is the best. And you know, there's a couple other tricks that I learned doing hand whistle, and that is you could do this high-pitched whistle doing it. You just have to adjust your hands a little bit more, but so, you know, doing it like that, but you could do it, it's more of a one-tone sound, but you could also do a high-pitched sound like that too. So so there's my record of my hand whistle. It's kind of cool. So yeah, I played music. I'm not playing any music right now, but you could play who knows what, you know. You got to find the scale, and then you just work on whatever tunes. So there is my record of my hand whistle, and you know, it's a legacy I passed to my nieces and nephews. I would love to pass it to my grandchildren. I will someday. One I don't see at all, but hopefully someday maybe you'll see this video. But I have another grandson, Benjamin, and I got, of course, my beautiful little Audrey that I'll teach her to do that, and I'm going to teach my son, Harold. Josiah does it, my son, and I don't know if any of my daughters do it. They could tell me. Well, one of them doesn't talk to me. The other one barely talks to me, but maybe he talks to me, and I'll have to ask Amy if she does that. But you can bet that Harold is going to be a hand whistler. So, you know what? I'll do it right now. I will give you a little tutorial on how to use a hand whistle. It's great because it's with you wherever you go. You don't have to look for a shell. I mean, some people could do that, but you can't get as much of versatility. But actually, you know, you got to have space within your hands, you know, as if you're cupping water. And if you look at it, if you're cupping water, there has to be a hollowness to your hands. So if you could see in there, you can see that there's space in my hands. And the way that you look at it is, you know how you do a bottle? I don't have a bottle handy. I wasn't planning on doing this. But you know how you do a bottle and you go, hoo, hoo, you know, blowing across the top of the bottle. You're actually blowing across the top of your hands. And this is what it looks like. And you're blowing on this part of your thumb so that the air goes in and can come out the bottom of your thumb. So my lips are more in the knuckles and more up on my nails. It looks like I'm not, but then the air is able to escape. So what it is the air vibrating inside of your hands. That's what a whistle is. And a hand whistle is that very thing. You're making it so that you're blowing. I'm actually blowing across the top, across my thumbs, so that the air goes inside of my hands and it actually vibrates and then is able to come out. So that as I'm blowing my hand whistle, everything's tight, but there's one hole, and the air is blowing back at my face, and so that's how you're able to do a hand whistle, and that carries. That really does carry. It's something convenient. You know, my dad tells the story when he was in Vermont. He used to make a bottle cap whistle. I used to make those a little bit, or a tin can whistle, not a bottle cap. You could do it with a bottle cap. You could do it with an acorn top. But he made a tin can whistle, and you cut the top of a tin can, and you fold it, and you make a nail hole in it, and then you you blow on it, and then you could make a whistle like that. But he got lost in the woods of Vermont, Island Pond, Vermont, when he was a kid, and he had his whistle there, and his dad was able to find him. And who knows, the woods back then, when my dad was a boy, was easy to get lost. So that's my whistle, my hand whistle video. And you know, maybe what I'll do next, not in this video, I was thinking about it, but I'll do a grass instrument where you take a blade of grass and you can make the sound of a crow, and you can actually make all kinds of noise, and it's pretty loud. So that'll be my little bit of Burville, Connecticut. It's a little suburb of Torrington. That's a little bit of Burville lore of how to make a hand whistle, and how to then, I'll do another one on how to do a grass. I don't know if it's a whistle. It's more of a vibration of a grass reed instrument with your hands, and it's pretty cool. So thanks for watching. Totally different, totally random, but I thought I would share that.